Roger, it's weird. You wrote a book about assassinations. We just had one a little while ago, like an attempt.
Yeah, and it's amazing, Vincent, the commonality. In other words, the things you saw in JFK's murder that were repeated in Pennsylvania. Really a stand down by the Secret Service. I mean, in 1963, there's so many violations of the Secret Service manual. So remember, Kennedy's on a trip that goes Miami, Chicago, Dallas.
Dallas is last.
And in Chicago, Miami and Chicago, all of the rules are followed. For example, any high building within 300 yards must be searched and sealed. That didn't happen in Dallas. That didn't happen in Butler, Pennsylvania. That building was 150 yards from where the president was speaking. There's supposed to be 6 motorcycle officers, 3 on either side of the presidential limousine. In Dallas, there's 1, and he's told to ride behind the presidential limousine. There's supposed to be plainclothes Secret Service agents in the crowd. There are none. There's supposed to be 2 agents on the rear bumper of Kennedy's car. You can go on YouTube and see them
calling them off.
Calling them off. In the case of Butler, Pennsylvania, we now know that the Secret Service and the local police know that there's a man with a gun on the premises. He's been seen using a rangefinder. They know this for 62 minutes, but no one informs Donald Trump, President Trump, and nobody evacuates him from the scene, which is what the manual requires. There are so many violations here of standard operating procedure that you can't just say, oh, well, they're incompetent. No, I think this goes beyond incompetence, and now you have the FBI director speculating that Trump was not hit by a bullet.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Saying that it may have been shrapnel or glass. Well, there is no glass because the teleprompter is not damaged.
Yeah.
And there is no shrapnel. I believe most likely, and I'm not sure level of illness, the bullet that grazed Trump's ear is probably the bullet that killed the fireman, Corey Compantore.
Oh, wow. And yeah, Rob, and speaking of that, I think the debate solidified the move for the establishment, the deep state, that, you know, we have to get rid of him. I think once that happened, Rob, and Roger, and they saw how bad he did, and they realized, listen, we have to move on from this guy. What do you think? That was the moment, Roger, where that plan was set in motion, when they were just like, listen, this is it.
Well, I think they had 2 options at that point. They said, we've either got to get rid of Trump or we got to get rid of Biden. Or maybe we get rid of both of them. It was clear to them that Joe wasn't up to a campaign. I predicted the assassination attempt in 2018 in an interview with New American Magazine. Wow. I said they'll try to impeach him. They'll try to bankrupt him. They'll try to throw him in jail. And I said they will ultimately try to kill him, 2018. And then, as I think you all know, more recently, I predicted that Joe would not run again. That was 3 years ago. Yeah. I also predicted that Kamala would serve briefly as president. I may yet be right about that. We shall see. Final prediction was that Michelle Obama would be the candidate. I said it, I believe, on this show. Certainly said it on Patrick's show. I may or may not be right about that yet. It's too early to say. There seems to be a consolidation, but I think it's important. I never said she wanted to run. I never said she planned to run or that she hankered to be president. I believed when Trump's inevitability became clear, that they would prevail upon her, they'd draft her. Yeah. And this convention, more than 50% of the delegates are non-white. So it is not a reflection of America. And about 1/3 of the delegates are controlled by 3 union presidents.
Wow.
So I still think you have a great fluidity, only because under this system, none of these delegates are legally pledged to do anything. They don't have to vote for Kamala because no one voted for Kamala.
Yep.
Right.
I mean, if she became president, which I still think is a possibility, obviously, she'd be the only president we had that no one voted for other than Gerald Ford.
Wow. And Roger, somebody, I think it was DC Drano, which I know you know, he tweeted or X'd something where he said, we were 1 inch away for having 2 people running for the president of the United States that nobody like voted for.
Yeah.
It would have been who would have been for the Republicans if, God forbid, Trump was murdered.
That's an excellent question. So the way the system works in our party, if Trump had been murdered, the replacement decision goes to the Republican National Committee. And there is no obvious candidate. First of all, I would argue you cannot nominate Ron DeSantis or Nikki Haley, candidates who ran and were defeated for the nomination. This is not a deal where the first runner-up gets the prize. It doesn't work that way. I don't know who we would have nominated. It would have put us in a terrible position because there is only one Donald Trump.
Right.
He is completely and totally unique. His appeal is unique. Would have put our party in a real bind.
Oh, and Roger, and I want to go back to the assassination attempt. Kelly, can you play this video? Because I want to prove to people that Roger is a freaking psychic. This is, I believe, Roger, this is from you at Turning Point, which is happening this week, Kelly? Turning Point? Yes. Okay, this is Roger at Turning Point, I think a year ago, saying exactly what's happening right now. This guy is a time traveler, and I'd like Kelly to play this clip. Go ahead, Kelly, whenever you're ready.
A veteran of many years in American politics, I'm going to tell you something somewhat shocking. Joe Biden will not be the nominee of the Democratic Party in 2024. Kamala Harris will briefly become president, but the only way in their party they can replace a woman of color is with another woman of color. And yes, you heard it here first. The Democratic nominee for president will be Michelle Obama.
That's on the table.
They have already rigged their primaries. The reason that they have canceled the Iowa caucuses and the New Hampshire primary is to put South Carolina, a state where a majority of the Democratic primaries or primary voters are African Americans, and they will allow Gavin Newsom to purchase the vice presidential nomination, but the Obamas will hold him up for $600 or $800 million to do so. You heard it here first. When Steve Bannon says it in 3 weeks, remember I said it first.
and Roger, is Steve Bannon? Is he in prison right now?
He is in prison.
He's in prison.
And we pray for him.
No, well, 100%. All the people that are wrongly, arrested, accused. So Roger, just going back. So everything that I've seen, and this is coming from a security standpoint, a military standpoint. The writing is on the wall. We know what's going on with, we know what happened with Lyndon B. Johnson and the orchestrated assassination on JFK. Roger, and you talked about, was it incompetence or highly orchestrated negligence? At this level, Roger, okay, who at the top would not only give the green light, Roger, because this is huge. I don't think Biden's involved because he doesn't know he doesn't know how to put his pants on. At this level, Roger, and we know who's really in charge. It's Barack Obama. Let's be honest with each other. He even said it in that interview on Stephen Colbert. He's like, if I could be in the basement with an earpiece, okay, you are in the basement, but there's no earpiece. You're just telling him what to do. At that level, Roger, does a Barack Obama, does he have any pre-warned knowledge before, or like a Hillary, or that they're going to do something like this? Because let's stop beating around the bush. They, by the way, because evil has pronouns, they, them, that Biden always says, they know we all know what the hell happened. So who knows and who's involved at that level?
Well, let's take it piece by piece. So there's no question that it was Barack Obama who drove Joe Biden from the White House. He decided Joe's going to go whether Joe wants to go or not. People I know who know President Biden tell me he's extraordinarily stubborn. He has a very, very high opinion of himself. And he was actually quoted by somebody I know on the Biden staff who said, when he was forced to throw in the towel, now I won't go down in history with FDR, LBJ, or even Bill Clinton as a great president.
Oh my God.
This guy actually thinks he's a great president.
Oh my God.
But that's been the hallmark of his career. He's you've seen him arguing about how high his IQ was, and how I was first in my class. All it was bullshit, of course.
Yeah.
So he's very, very, very angry. He got squeezed out. He did not want to go. And that was all orchestrated by Barack Obama. It was Obama who cut off the money. It was Obama who convinced Nancy Pelosi through her surrogate Adam Schiff to tell the guy to drop. It was Barack Obama who lined up George Clooney to do the op-ed for the New York Times. The media tells us the other way around. Not a chance. He orchestrated this. Now, he also did not immediately endorse Kamala Harris because I think he still has very grave reservations about her ability to win a general election. This morning's news is that he has endorsed her. But again, I point out to you, nobody here is legally bound, and their convention is not until August 19th, and that's a lifetime in politics. Let's see how sure-footed she is on the campaign trail. Unless they intend to hide her in the basement like they did Joe, she's not good on her feet. She's demonstrated that. And as for the $100 million that they brought in, how much of that is real? I mean, we now have a pattern of people giving hundreds of small or medium-sized donations, but when you contact them, they have no idea what you're talking about. Act Blue, what is that? So there's a major campaign finance scandal there of huge proportions. James O'Keefe has done excellent work on this just recently, talking to a retiree. Lady, you gave $300,000. She said, what are you talking about? I'm living on a pension.
That, yeah.
I don't make 30. I don't get 30 grand a year. So there's and the Federal Election Commission, because it's divided 3-3, will never take action on anything. You go file your complaint. You might get a news story out of it, but how much of Kamala's $100 million is real and how much of it really came from Soros or some other fat cat through what is really just money laundering?
Wow.
Oh, big, and Roger, speaking of Kelly, I think, well, Roger, I want to show this. This is your tweet. But Kamala, I love this one. Kamala's effed. If polls show her losing Trump by August 1, Obama will push her aside for Michelle, who will only be reluctantly agree to run to keep her husband and his entire criminal cabal out of jail. Which Roger, when I tell you I've been telling people this, and you were sitting in that chair 2 years ago, over 2 years ago, and you said it, and the moment you said it, it made so much sense to me that she would be the overwhelmingly favorite with the name and the woman, and she goes on these tours. And then, Roger, and speaking of, you said this morning, and Rob sent this to me at 5 a.m. There was a video, and Kelly, can you play it? It's the video of Obama apparently calling Kamala and congratulating her. And guys, to me, when I first saw it, Roger, and Rob, you sent it at what, 6 a.m.?
Yeah, I woke up and saw it at 6 a.m. and it had been posted at 5:01 that morning. Which is a perfect time to release it because all of the morning news cycles will pick it up and this will be the lead story for the morning.
And I want your honest opinions. Does this look like horrible acting, Roger? And does it sound like AI? And this does not seem real to me. And Kelly, I want your opinion too. Umberto, you ready? Go ahead.
Kamala.
Hello. Hi.
Hey there.
Oh, hi, you're both together. Oh, it's good to hear you both.
Look at this.
I can't have this phone call without saying to my girl Kamala, I am proud of you. This is going to be historic.
We called to say Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
Oh, my goodness. Michelle, Brock, this means so much to me. I'm looking forward to doing this with the two of you, Doug and I both, and getting out there, being on the road. But most of all, I just want to tell you the words you have spoken and the friendship that you have given over all these years mean more than I can express. So thank you both. It means so much. And we're going to have some fun with this too, aren't we?
Okay, by the way, Raj, I want to go to you. Hold on. Horrible acting. Who has the phone, Rob? Do you ever do this? On speaker, and you're doing this. That is the fakest video I've seen. And no, who says, my friend Kamala, and it doesn't.
Well, first of all, if a former president calls you, you don't say, hey there.
Yeah.
You say, Mr. President.
Yeah.
It looked very stilted to me. Almost as bad as Joe calling into the Biden headquarters the other day.
Yeah, that was a classic.
If that wasn't AI, I got a bridge in Brooklyn I want to talk about.
Yeah.
No, you're going to see more. You're going to see more and more AI used in these kind of political manipulations.
And Roger, and Kelly has the tweet last night. Trump tweeted about debating her because she's going around saying, did you see this? She's like, he's tippy-toeing debating me, where he's saying he's not going to debate her.
This is very clear. Donald Trump is the official legal nominee of the Republican Party. Yeah. As soon as their party has a real nominee, a legal nominee, then Trump will agree to a debate. But why would he agree to debate a woman who's not yet the Democrat nominee? She's not.
Right.
And while I would call it probable, it's definitely not certain. It won't be certain until they vote. It's interesting that Black Lives Matter, of all of the organizations, oh, wait a minute, they told us they're not organized. Pardon me.
No, yeah.
Of all of the entities, has come forward and say, look, there needs to be a national primary in which people can vote before this convention. And of course, that has been rejected. Why? Because she wouldn't get any votes. She got single digits when she ran for president. There's nothing in her 2020 presidential campaign or her administration of the office of vice president that would indicate to you that she's ready for this, that she's capable of running a campaign, that she's capable in 103 days of building an organization that can beat Donald Trump, who does at this point have a well-oiled and efficient machine.
Yeah, and Rod, this is the because I can't read it from here, but Kelly has it. Let me read this right now. So this is Trump. Trump said, given the continued political chaos surrounding crooked Joe Biden and the Democratic Party, general election debate details cannot be finalized until Democrats formally decide on their nominee. This is a strong sense of many in the Democrat Party, namely Barack Hussein Obama, that Kamala Harris is a Marxist fraud who cannot beat President Trump, and they are still holding out for someone better. Therefore, it would be inappropriate to schedule things with Harris because Democrats very well could still change their minds, which I still think is on the table, Roger. But a debate between those two, just Tulsi Gabbard eviscerated her, and she has no chance. But you notice, Roger, the move now is she's a black woman. You have to vote. I saw a couple of interviews yesterday on X, and they're like, "So who are you voting for?" To an African American girl, she's like, "Kamala Harris." Like, what are you, nuts? And he's like, "Why?" And the only reason, she said, because she's black. And the guy goes, "Name one accomplishment." She couldn't talk. It was silent for a minute.
Well, I mean, other than incarcerating black people for the first time nonviolent crime of possession of small amounts of marijuana, which I find really objectionable as a libertarian. People who belong in drug treatment programs, not in jail. She has no accomplishments on behalf of black people, or for that matter, any people. She actually kept people in prison past their prison sentence end, so they could basically provide free labor to the state of California. And I read 2 days ago about a case of a guy who was wrongly convicted, and when the Innocence Project came up with the proof of that, she insisted on retrying the guy. He'd already done 18 years in the slam. She retried the guy. Guess what? He was acquitted the second time.
Good. Oh, mind you, and talking about free labor, it runs in the family, which is kind of slave labor. Her great-great-grandfather was one of the largest slave owners in Jamaica. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Wow. Owner and trader. So that whole getting free labor it runs in the family.
Yeah, I can't wait till she brings up reparations, because I think that'll be a part of the conversation.
Oh, that's coming, Rod. You know that's coming.
Because if anybody should pay reparations, it would be her. She comes from a long line of slaveholders.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know what's funny about this statement right here?
Yeah.
The second statement they released, the first one was when they were trying to set up a J.D. Vance, Kamala Harris debate.
Yeah.
That didn't go through because they released the same statement. Like, Kamala Harris, it's not going to be the VP.
Yeah.
So we're not going to debate anyone until you guys figure it out.
Quick
and
question.
this is the second statement that they're not going to debate Kamala Harris until she's officially said to be the presidential nominee for the Democratic Party. They start coming. Everyone sees it coming.
Can I ask that? So, can you explain a little bit how the delegates process works? Because it seems like they have a ton of control over the Democrat nominee process, and I don't think a lot of people understand that too well.
They do, and it may be a moving object. So let me explain it as I understand it. So they have about 7,000 delegates.
Yeah.
The 700 super delegates, most of whom are party officials or elected officials and who are overwhelmingly controlled by Obama, are not allowed to vote on the first ballot. I don't know why that is. There's a date, which I think is August 1st, by which any other candidate has to submit their name. So if somebody else is going to have their name put in nomination, they have to have a second, but you have to register by August 1st. If she's the only candidate, well, then she'll be designated. But I still think they'll be looking at the polls around August 1st. They'll be looking at the money. It'll be interesting to see if people will begin to look at where this money's really coming from, because I'm convinced that as much as half of it may be may be money laundered.
Wow.
And then lastly is her performance on the stump. I mean, she's never been a strong campaigner. Her comments are a world salad. She's not going to be able to hide. They're going to try to hide her in this period to prolong the honeymoon. She's on the full honeymoon right now. She's the first. She's the second woman. She's the first black woman. This is historic. We'll see.
Roger, and I want to Rob. I want to go to yours next to stay on Kamala. Roger, we all know Joe Biden is mentally gone. I saw videos the other day. There's a taller looking one. His face is all messed up. Who knows? And then apparently Jill flew and was 8 hours. She was in Paris. I don't believe any of this, especially with the CIA mask, but that's a whole different conversation. Who right now, Raj, who is running the show? Who? Because I know that he doesn't make any decisions. I know we mentioned Barack, but I'm talking about around him. Who are the top 3 to 4? And let's say, Raj, Anthony Blinken is up there.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
What do you think?
So I published a piece at stonezone.com, which anybody can go read. It's free, about the council. The council is actually a legally constituted group within the government. The Attorney General is
Merrick Garland
is one of the council members. The head of the Joint Chiefs, General Milley, is one of the council members. Anthony Blinken, who's about as good at guitar as he is at statecraft, he is a member of the council. So you've got this little group within government, none of whom have been elected.
Damn right.
And I think that is who's calling the shots. It's a long, detailed piece, but basically the council has now put into every department an inspector general that has much broader powers rather than just the power of investigation. So I think that's who's running the government. It's like a small committee running things in Joe's absence. So they just present things to Joe. This is very much like the situation with Woodrow Wilson. Yeah. So Woodrow Wilson was elected in 1912. He wins only because the Republicans are split. Theodore Roosevelt runs tries to bump off William Howard Taft, who had been his hand-selected successor, but they fall out. Roosevelt challenges him for the Republican nomination, fails, runs as an independent on the Bull Moose Party, originally the Progressive Party, but one day they ask him how he feels, and he says, "I feel strong as a bull moose." So from that day forward, they call it the Bull Moose Party. Here's what people don't know. Wilson, the Democrat, is first. Roosevelt, the Bull Moose, is second. The Republican candidate runs third.
Wow.
So Wilson becomes president, but in 1919, he is hit with a debilitating stroke.
Oh, man.
He's both mentally and physically debilitated. For the duration of his term, they just hide him. He is never seen in public again after his stroke. And his wife, Edith Galt Wilson, with the assistance of the White House Chief of Staff, Colonel House, are running the country. When it's time for Wilson to sign an official document, she puts the pen in his hand and she moves the pen across the paper. So she was the de facto president. Now, in the pre-media days, you could get away with that.
Yeah.
Also, this is before they limited a president to 2 terms. They actually thought about running him in this condition for a 3rd term.
Oh, they're relentless. They want to keep that power. What's up, everybody? Vincent O'Shaughnessy here. If you want to see me and the entire Valuetainment crew, we will be at the Volt Conference September 4th through the 7th at the Palm Beach Convention Center, hosted by none other than Patrick Bet-David and featuring Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Guys, this is the place to be. If you are an entrepreneur and you want to level up, do not miss this opportunity. This is the best place to network. If you want tickets, go to thevaultconference.com. Do not waste time. This thing is going to sell out, and I will see you guys there. Peace and love. So if you like this clip, click right here. And if you want to see more like it, click right here. Stay angry, Patriots.